Winnebago County Board unanimously chooses Amanda Penny to fill a vacancy on the county's mental health board at its September 26 meeting. But WIFR's Anthony Ferretti talks with a member on reports that there may have been other candidates that some on the board didn't know about.
I have not seen the letter. Could you forward it to us?
The end of Thursday night's Winnebago County Board meeting creates some questions. Member Gene Crosby asks about a report on additional recommendations to fill a vacancy on the mental health board.
I just like transparency, and when I found out about it, I said, gee, I'd like a copy of that.
Illinois state law allows the mental health board to make recommendations to the county chair to replace vacancies and expiring terms, though the chair does not have to choose them. The county board unanimously selected Amanda Penny to fill the void, who is board member John Penny's sister.
Her resume is sterling. I mean, she will be able to contribute, and not to allow that because she has a relation, to me is a little counterproductive, because we want the best and the brightest.
Crosby says she would have liked to know about how the chair narrowed it down to Penny.
I don't see a problem with it because we're not paid on the mental health boards. At the same time, it brings up questions to the public, so that's understandable.
Tim Neighbors is on both boards. He says being on the board doesn't necessarily require you to be a mental health professional.
There are things that goes on in an organization where you need a diverse group of business people other than mental health professionals to be on the board. So it is just what the fit is at the moment.
In Winnebago County, Anthony Ferretti, WIFR News.
The board says they will look into these recommendations. Penny should officially be appointed at the October 24th board meeting.